looks like everybody is signed on, so without further ado, let's get started. Today we have a very special webinar with Joshua Smith from TRAVCOA, who's going to be talking to us about the new itineraries for Papua New Guinea from TRAVCOA. So I will introduce us both. My name's Allie Stoltz. I'm the Sales and Marketing Manager of Papua New Guinea Tourism, and I'm actually based in Los Angeles, so I'm right at LAX. I'm looking over the planes taking off as we speak. I've been working with Papua New Guinea for the past 5 years, and I'm about to take my 12th trip to Papua New Guinea in November. So it's safe to say I'm a pretty big fan of the country, and I think that you'll hear the same from Joshua Smith, who has actually been twice down to PNG now. So I'll turn it over to Josh. Josh, can you maybe give a little bit of introduction and what you do over at TRAVCOA?
Yes, I joined TRAVCOA a few years ago, and I develop and manage the product line for our private journeys, which is the basically a brochured, pre-designed FIT travel. And as Ali mentioned, I have been to Papua New Guinea twice, both on the islands as well as most recently the Highlands, and I'm absolutely fascinated with the country. It is just a special place, the most authentic destination I've been to in my travels. So I'm very excited to share my experiences as well as the products that we have within TRAVCOA.
That's great. So we're going to have the format be a little bit different today than maybe what you're used to. It's going to be very conversational, and we're going to just be going back and forth. Feel free to submit your questions in the questions bar throughout the presentation. We'll do our best to answer, and between the two of us, I think we can do a really great job of answering, or at least we'll just make it up, right, Josh?
No, exactly. Well, I think you definitely are the expert in the destination, and I'm fortunate enough, again, to have been there a couple times. And I think Ali and I have actually spent more time in Papua New Guinea than we have in Los Angeles, even though we're friends here and live within 5 miles of each other. But it's just, that connection that we have in the destination is amazing.
Yeah, I was going to say we've made plans to meet in Papua New Guinea more than plans to meet. So today's format will be a quick overview of Papua New Guinea from me, an overview of TRAVCOA from Josh, and then some really exciting itineraries that TRAVCOA has put together. And frankly, itineraries that I haven't really seen out other places in the market. So as an agent, you can be rest assured that you're getting a customized trip. I think Josh, because he's been twice to the country, is a little bit more adventurous and a little bit more open to maybe some lesser-known secret gems in Papua New Guinea. So
Exactly.
excited to see more about that too. And a lovely picture from our trip out in Rabaul, where we got to face the fury of the River volcano face-to-face, so that was pretty awesome. I'll give a very brief overview of the country. Hopefully you know most of this by now, but where we are. So we're so close to Australia. Granted, we are about 100 miles north of Australia. Granted, when you get to Papua New Guinea, you'll feel about 1 million miles away from Australia, but realistically, we're only 100 miles north of Australia. So that means pretty amazing connections from the Australian gateways. So 1 hour flight from Cairns up in the Great Barrier Reef, 3 hours from Brisbane, and 4 hours from Sydney. But we also have a ton of other connections through Fiji, and I've seen this be a seriously competitive price point going LA, Fiji, Port Moresby into Papua New Guinea with Fiji Airways. So something to consider. The most connections you'll find out of Australia, but the Fiji route is sneaking up to be pretty compelling. Also, tons of Asian gateways. So we have nonstops from Singapore. We have nonstops from Manila. We just launched some new nonstops from Cebu in the Philippines. We have that Tokyo flight, which we've had for about 10 years now, and also connections through Hong Kong. So there's no reason to say that it's not easy to get to Papua New Guinea. In fact, a quick note is I just got back from Killarney, Ireland for a conference, and actually it took me longer to get to Killarney, Ireland than Papua New Guinea. So there is a significant perception issue that Papua New Guinea is very far away, when in reality, a nonstop to Brisbane and a 3-hour flight, and you're there. This is great news. This is a very new flight. They just launched. Usually you have to go through our capital, which is Port Moresby. But Air New Guinea has launched a twice-a-week nonstop from Cairns up in the Great Barrier Reef to Rabaul, and it's 3 hours, and it's on Mondays and Fridays. And they're guaranteeing that this flight is going to stick around for the next 5 years. So they're really investing in this flight, which I think is very interesting in terms of adding a PNG extension onto your existing TRAVCOA Australia itinerary. Very attractive for fly in on a Friday, fly out on a Monday, do a couple nights in Rabaul. So your question is probably, what is there to do in Rabaul? And I will present a few quick ideas, but there's tons to do in the place. You could stay 4 nights in Rabaul and have a great time. The Baining Fire Dancers are a highlight. This is not a luau. They do not come to your hotel. This is an hour drive up into the mountains, into the Baining Mountains, where you witness something that cannot happen any other place in the entire country. These people, they don't attend festivals. They don't go out to Port Moresby and show off their fire dance. It happens only in this region. It's very special about, it's amazing. Also, it's home to a massive volcano, which just got some good press recently for actually erupting. So it's a very active place, as for sure. The volcano, it also has tons of hot springs around it, where we actually took a little dip and cooked an egg in the water and then ate hard-boiled eggs for lunch. So very interesting, diverse place, and amazing for scuba diving and snorkeling because you're out there on the coast. And this is all a 3-hour nonstop flight from Cairns. But most people are coming through Port Moresby. That is the way that it's been for a while. Things are changing in PNG, but I would say Port Moresby is still our hub, international airport, and our capital. Interesting fact is that Port Moresby is hosting the 2015 Pacific Games. So their goal is to go from 600 rooms to 6,000 rooms, which is huge. Granted, some of those rooms will be for athletes that are coming over, so maybe they'll be building out, university housing, building out that dorm style. But there is significant development happening in Port Moresby for these games, and it's all positive. I mean, the city is unrecognizable from 5 years ago. The cleanliness, they've outlawed chewing beetle nut. There's a new nightclub, which is kind of interesting. So it's just this city that is definitely getting a facelift in time for a lot of huge events that they've got coming. In terms of PNG, we really do have 2 very different types of climate. We're the size of California, 7 million people, a large country. So up in the Highlands, you're 7,000 feet up. They call it eternal spring. You might even have a scarf or a beanie on. And then you fly 1 hour, 2 hours down to the coast. And now in the plane, you're taking off all your warm clothes because now it's 90 degrees. You're out in the sunshine, out in the middle of a private island. So very diverse in our climate. Our currency is the kina. It's actually based after the kina shell, which, there's still places in the country where they're using kina shell as currency. So our actual currency is called the kina, which is the paper dollar, but there's still many cases of people using the kina shell as currency. And a lot for bride price, so for purchasing your wife, you would, in most places in the country, they still are using kina shell. And even our client, even our CEO or our marketing manager in Papua New Guinea, he said, yeah, I do bride price. I did the kina shell and some pigs. And so culture is still very alive and well, even up to this day. And some great news, we have visa on arrival, as always, for U.S. and Canadians, but it is actually free, which just changed about a year ago now. So that is a huge, just another way of making it easier to get to Papua New Guinea is now free visa on arrival.
I think that also makes for a great extension. Again, as you mentioned, from Australia or even New Zealand, just for a couple of days to get that experience without really investing the time, because Americans, specifically are so time poor with work schedules.
Yeah, that's a great point. So now it's just even easier to hop over and have a quick look around. And I guarantee you, if the client does a 3-day extension to PNG, they'll be asking you for a 2-week proper trip to PNG next year. It's just, that's the feeling everyone gets when they leave PNG, is they go, oh, there's so much more I wanted to see. And that's probably based on the fact that we have over 800 different languages, over 750 different tribes. Like I mentioned, we're the size of California. One trip almost doesn't suffice. So it is a main draw of going to PNG is during the festivals, because it's that time of tribal gathering where you can kind of get a taste of all the regions of the country in one place. So this is a picture of the Hagen showgrounds, which is usually in a large field. So you're probably asking yourself, okay, this sounds great, but what kind of people actually go to Papua New Guinea, we see that the age is half over 40 and even 25% over the age of 60. So an older demographic, mostly because it is a bit of a spend. This is not a budget backpacker trip at all. Usually people wanting to stay for about 2 weeks, and you can do a proper trip in 10 days, but the average length of stay is 15. And the household income is 100,000 plus, but honestly, that's even going up and up. So it really is that VIP, high net worth client who has the time and is interested in, because they've done Bhutan, they've done Antarctica, you know, they've seen it all. They're looking for what's next. People visit Papua New Guinea for a wide variety of reasons. We have world-class surfing, which is very exclusive. I think only 30 people can surf in the whole country at a time, so very exclusive. They definitely go for trekking. They definitely go for cultural immersion, village visits, just really getting in touch with a culture that is new to tourism, is new to the outside world. It's probably, I mean, it has to be one of the last untouched corners of the earth, in my opinion. So, yeah, it's just one of those places that if you're a bucket lister, if you're an extreme traveler, it's on your list. It's just a question of when. This is a few quick pictures from my trip I just took. This is up in Ambua Lodge, up in the Highlands. Josh will be talking about at one of their local waterfalls that you hike to. This took us about 25 minutes to get to, and then the bus drove us back. One of the easiest waterfall hikes I've ever done. We visited the Huli Wigmen villages, and I don't want to tell you too much about the villages themselves because that's the appeal of going, but there's some interesting practices to be sure. We went bird watching a ton, and none of our group was birders, except we were up at 5 o'clock every morning begging to go out because you're seeing King of Saxony bird of paradise, you're seeing ribbon-tailed astrapia, you're just witnessing world-class birding. It's almost like if you were at the Super Bowl and someone said, do you want to throw a football? Even if you don't play football, you'd say, sure, I'm at the Super Bowl. It's the same idea. So they turned us all into birders there. These are some of our Trans-New Guinea Tours guides, which TRAVCOA uses, just really the top of the entire country. And I've seen this guide now for the last 5 years, and it's always fun to reconnect with these guys. Roadside markets are really interesting. This is up in Mount Hagen, buying some sweet potato with one of my guests, and just it's not on the itinerary, but it's always something that is a highlight for the guests is stopping on the roadside market. And I love this picture because it's exactly Papua New Guinea. You shake everybody's hand. If you leave the country, you probably shook 1,000 hands and you probably waved 10,000 times. It's just a place where tourists are not seen as a dollar sign yet. I mean, eventually down the road, every country is the same, but Papua New Guinea is at a point where they sincerely are welcoming you in to their country in a very unique way where you really are a guest. You're not a tourist. So I love that picture. So in summary, Papua New Guinea is well accessible and well connected. I think you can see that from all of our flight connections that we have. Extremely untouched and unspoiled, and we want to keep it that way. Amazing dive destination for your scuba dive clients or even snorkelers. Bird watcher's paradise, and you can be sure your clients will be converted once they get back. Up and coming surf destination. I know it's not huge for many agents, but I want to flag it because it really is some of the top surfing in the world. Great for alumni and group travel because there is that steep learning curve Josh can talk about. You come back from one trip in Papua New Guinea, you feel like an anthropologist because every step of the way is such a learning experience and things you've never even seen before. And so that's very great. And it is a destination that keeps on giving. I think you're definitely looking at repeat clients to the destination. I've heard people who've been 20 times to PNG. And it's also very strong for referrals. So your clients will come back happy, and they're going to tell their friends, and they're going to tell them that going with you is the way to go. You can't go to Papua New Guinea on your own. You can't book it on Expedia. You can't just show up and rent a car. This is a destination that needs agents like you to book. So I think it's a huge opportunity, this destination for agents. And that's all I have, Josh. I'll hand it over to you now to give them the meat and potatoes of the destination. The meat and the sweet potatoes of the day.
Thanks, Allie. I'll just do a quick overview on TRAVCOA. So we have been perfecting the art of travel for 60 years, celebrating 60 years this year. And the company was founded in 1954 by Mr. William Daltz, and we've just continued to lead the way in with luxury travel. So some notable dates, 1956, we brought the first American group to Nepal. There was no place to stay there, so we stayed at the Royal Palace in the absence of all of the hotels. And then in 1974, we were the first to establish air conditioning cruising on Papua New Guinea Sepik River, which was, again, that connection that we've had with Papua New Guinea for the last 30 years. And then in 1980, we were the first to encircle the globe aboard a private jet in the around-the-world excursion. So our legacy is not only that we've opened new doors around the world, but we've invented new ways to experience those places in exotic destinations such as Papua New Guinea. Within the portfolio of TRAVCOA, we have three different departments. One, the first is the small group escorted journeys, and then the private journeys, which I manage. And then we also have custom tailor-made journeys with a team of very educated, well-traveled professionals. And we currently operate on all 7 continents in over 100 countries. So what is a TRAVCOA escorted journey? You know, the key advantage for this portfolio is that it's never more than 18 guests. Usually on average it's around 12 to 14. We utilize the best hotels. This is actually a picture of Jan Wheatley. He is our tour director that accompanies our guests every year on our escorted program to Papua New Guinea, and he's been going there for 30 years. So the children that he used to bring school supplies to 30 years ago are now the guides, and has really just created a solid, long connection with these tribes. So when you are going with, or your clients are going with the group, they really are treated like VIP because we've established those really strong relationships. One thing actually I wanted to mention also, the dining around program is something else that's very unique to TRAVCOA. On this particular journey, everything is included as you would travel with any company really in Papua New Guinea. But externally in other destinations, it offers the opportunity for your guests to never have to pay for any of their meals, and they can dine wherever they'd like. If they want to have lobster or a steak at every single meal, they can. The only exclusions are caviar and alcohol. So the particular program that we have right here, the escorted journey, Melanesia's cultural gem, next year departs on August 3rd. And it does sell out pretty quickly. We are looking at another departure as well based around another festival. This one is based around the Mount Hagen show that Ali showed some pictures of earlier. So it begins and ends in Cairns, Australia, again making it very accessible and easy for the clients. And that's kind of outlined the itinerary, but we'll go through kind of each of those areas in the next few slides. So we start in Cairns, and it's here that we stay at the Shangri-La, and within the Shangri-La, we stay on the Horizon 4 rooms, beautiful rooms overlooking the harbor. Have access to the lounge and the business center, and then the club room there with canapes and cocktails in the evening. From there, we fly to Port Moresby. Everyone with the group escorted by Jan. And we stay at the Airways Hotel, which is right by the airport, a beautiful property. I would say the best property right now in Moresby, but as Ali mentioned, there are new properties that are in development. There's a few activities that we do in Port Moresby. One of them is the Natural Museum and Art Gallery. This is where you can kind of start to understand the culture, or the varied cultures rather, because there are so many tribes within the destination. And we also have an excursion to the Port Moresby Nature Park, and it's I visited last year, and it's just you know, I love zoos and I love nature parks, but this one is so interesting because of the uniqueness of some of the animals. I mean, there's the most number of species of the cassowary, and it's all in one place where you can see different species. And then there's actually an unknown species. I believe it's a version of a tree monkey, and we saw it not from a distance, but it's still kind of hard to tell because it was next to a tree. But I spoke with the director of the Port Moresby Nature Park a few weeks ago, and finally they've gotten the funding to send away the DNA of this species to find out what it actually is. So it's just a really, really interesting place. So after, on day 3, we then fly to Karawari Lodge. This is on an Air New Guinea flight. So then we're transferred by riverboat and then a 4-wheel drive vehicle to the River Lodge. It's inspired by local architecture and built from traditional materials, but yet has all of the modern comforts that you would expect. As far as American 5-star standards, you're really not going to find that anywhere, but it is the best of the best, and it is very comfortable at all of the lodges. Here you'll have a couple different activities. One is learning how they make sago. So sago is it's harvested from the sago palm. It's basically the staple food of the villages there. So you're able to watch them prepare it and make that and even try it. And I have to say I was a little hesitant to try it, but it actually, it's not tasty. It's not bad by any means, but it's very unique in how it's made. We also have some cultural visits there, some village visits, as you'll really experience in any destination or any city in Papua New Guinea. But on the day 5, we fly to the Sepik Spirit. This is a docked ship now, but it allows you the accessibility on the river to really see these unique tribes and villages in these little excursions throughout the day. So we spend 3 days there. And it's really just exploring the river networks. And there's an 18-seater jet boat that we take into these, really small villages and just spending time with them and learning about their traditions and their culture, and seeing the way that they dress. And oftentimes when you travel, they're wearing Americanized clothes, and then they're just for show, putting on costumes. But in Papua New Guinea, it is completely different. They are one of the last, people on the earth and undiscovered, and so they are still maintaining their heritage and their dress. So we again just to travel through the tributaries and really I can't say enough about the destination. It's just to see the authenticity of how they live, and that they were living the same way, hundreds of years ago. Just some more pictures. You'll see carvers, and this is the Haus Tambaran. So this is a traditional ancestral worship house. So the women here in the village, they are the preparers of feasts and really take care of all of the guests. And then the men, are really focused on just praying, and it's just something else. Here's one of our guests. Also, all of these villages, they have the opportunity to talk with the actual carvers and buy masks and ancestral figures and hand drums. I will say, and I was warned by Ali, sometimes it is challenging to bring it back into the U.S. because of their custom restrictions, especially those with feathers and reptile skin and shells. And I was able to bring back some shells, but I'd be very honest, especially flying through Australia when coming back. Again, it's those same restrictions. So they do, not the villages, but the lodges, as well as in Port Moresby, offer the opportunity to ship. So that's an option for the clients as well. There's opportunity
to weigh in really quickly. Australia is very strict on their customs. I've also found going through those Asian gateways like Singapore, it's very easy, or much easier to bring things through. So if your clients are concerned about bringing art through, it might be something to look into going through Singapore.
We also, in the Sepik, have the opportunity to have your face painted, and then you can actually have the mask of which the face painter designed your face paint around to buy a copy of that, which is really, really cool experience. On day 8, we fly to Ambua Lodge after a few days in Karawari and the Sepik. So then we're transferred, you fly into Tari, and then you transfer to the Ambua Lodge. A beautiful landscape, All of the units have 180-degree picture windows, modern bathroom, electric blankets. I was there less than a month ago, and you know, it was a little chilly at night, but the electric blankets on the bed, just, I don't know, you feel so safe. And the bird watching here specifically is just amazing. There was another a couple birders that were there, and I mean, just simply walking outside your bungalow, you know, you're seeing many different varieties of birds, which I'm not a birder, but again, it was just amazing. So these are the views from the room. Again, they are basic. However, they provide all of the necessities that you need with the views that you really wouldn't expect, but you know, come to love. It's here where the Huli Wigmen, where you really get to see their customs. So the young men, you know, they venture out into the village alone for months to prove their manhood. They exercise their hunting techniques and developing their skills, which really earn them the respect of their communities. And it's during this time that they also grow out their hair to create their first wig. And there's a picture that Ali had showed earlier. It's seeing that process is again just so different. You're not going to find that anywhere else. This is the only place in the world that you can see it. And just having those, you know, being able to sit down and ask those questions of, you know, how many times have you done this, and you know, what did you sell your wig for? And it's just, that's the experience that you're going for. These are just a few more pictures of the men. The wigs are just phenomenal. They're so intricate with the shells and the horns and the feathers. So this is kind of the entrance to one of the Wigmen schools. Again, you get to learn their techniques. And one thing is funny, if lice is found in the wigs, they are kicked out. But you can talk with the school teacher. I think the latest estimates put the numbers around 150,000. And they've been living there for thousands of years. But it's really that culture you're not going to find anywhere else. They actually weren't discovered until 1936, and then not colonized until 1951. So this specific tribe, the Wigmen, are really one of the last discovered peoples on the earth. So from Tari, we fly to Rondon Ridge on day 11. This is also in the Highlands. And this entire program really focuses on the Highland, and the highlight is the Mount Hagen Festival. So you fly into Mount Hagen, and we transfer to Rondon Ridge. Again, a great property, great accommodations. We begin with the Mount Hagen Cultural Show. It was first staged in 1964. Papua New Guinea was actually under the Australia's colonial power. But they've organized this to really just share their different cultures. So with TRAVCOA, we actually arrive a day early before the show, and we attend a pre-show. And there's just 10 tribes there, and you really get to interact with them and learn about their culture. And we are treated, you know, again, like VIP guests. What I love about Papua New Guinea is the photography aspect of it, and you can take pictures of anybody, and you don't have to pay. Where, you know, if you go to another destination, you know, it is expected that you give some money if you take a picture of somebody, and that's not the case here. What is unique in Papua New Guinea, I think, is that if you take a picture of somebody and there's a group of 5 people, you're expected to take a picture of everyone because you're sharing that relationship, and you don't want to kind of ostracize or upset somebody for not taking their picture. So, you know, with digital pictures these days, my recommendation is to take a picture of everyone in a group if you are indeed wanting to take a picture of somebody. These are just some pictures from the Mount Hagen show. And there's so many different tribes and cultures there. We also we go on a visit to the Mount Hagen Market. Again, it's you know, looking at the produce. You can buy the produce. Everything is you know, very safe. You don't really have to worry about malaria. The Highlands is high enough. If your clients do recommend, or you know, are concerned, it's definitely something that's easily to come by. And now, as Ali said, the sweet potatoes are really also a staple food, and the yams. So this is a traditional mumu, and this is where we enjoy a lunch in one of the villages. It's the traditional way of cooking food over stones in the ground. This is just some more images from the Mount Hagen cultural show. So there's usually around 50 different tribes that attend, all dressed very differently. And again, we have VIP seats to the show just to get a more up-close view of the show. So during the show, there's sing-sings, there's musical presentations, cultural activities, handicraft stalls, there's an agricultural fair, really just spending 2 full days at the show in addition to that pre-show. Again, there's just each tribe, how they present themselves is completely different. There's, the skeletons and the mudmen. In addition to the Mount Hagen Cultural Show, there's many other shows within the destination. So again, this is our Escorted program that's focused on the Mount Hagen Show. We are looking at developing one for the Goroka Show. There's the Rabaul Mask Festival. And all of this information, the beauty of our private journeys, which I'll speak of in a little bit, is that you can actually create these, take these itineraries and base them around these other shows. So after the Mount Hagen Cultural Show, we fly back to Port Moresby. We spend a night or 2 nights at the Airways Hotel in Port Moresby. Again, the experiences of the nature park and kind of some local shops. And then we fly back to Cairns, overnight at Shangri-La, and then depart. So that program, it does start and end in Cairns, again, making it very accessible to all of your clients. Whoops. So TRAVCOA Private Journey, this is a new product that we've launched in the market about 5 years ago. It's that pre-designed FIT program. It's the beauty of it is it's flexible for really any day of departure. There are some restrictions on the Highlands program, which I'll just show you. It only departs on Fridays and Sundays. That's based on flights. But generally speaking, within the portfolio, there's over 100 journeys around the world in 76 countries. So it's private car and driver, privately locally guided. Again, it's an idea with a price. So we have beautiful brochures that we produce. If you're interested, please send me an email. My email's at the end of this. And we can send you a brochure, and it's really to start that conversation with your clients. There are ideas with a price. They are somewhat flexible. If they don't want to go to a certain city or if they want to stay longer somewhere else, we have that flexibility. And the beauty of the entire portfolio is that, we have the buying power, so the prices, are significantly less, and we have those contracts. So it's not a customized FIT. It is a pre-designed program. And it's really the ideal length destinations experiences within a particular country. So we have 2 private journeys in Papua New Guinea. One is the Highlands of Papua New Guinea. And I don't have any more slides about this because it really is very similar to the Escorted program, but again, offered on an FIT basis. So it starts and ends in Port Moresby. Again, we can also do a pre or post in Cairns or Brisbane or Sydney, and it maintains a private journey, and we do all of the work for you. And I think that the price point is really what's unique about this as well, is that less than $5,000 plus the $600 in air. You're spending 8 days in the destination. It is a very quick itinerary. It's really just 2 nights in each of those destinations that I talked about on the Escorted program. We don't offer the Sepik Spirit, and that's due to restricted departure dates and minimum capacities, but we're more than happy to add that in if it's available and really duplicate the Escorted program on an FIT basis, so we can do that. But this program, again, it's not very expensive when you look at other products in the market, and again, it's because we've created that relationship with the properties and are becoming the leaders in Papua New Guinea as a destination. We launched these products less than a year ago, and they've quickly become become very popular within our travel agency relationships. The other program, which Ali had referenced, is very unique in the market. I don't believe there's anyone else that's operating this type of program, and it's featuring the islands portion of Papua New Guinea. Really just unique experiences. Ali had some images earlier. So again, it starts and ends in Port Moresby. If you would like to combine the Highlands of Papua New Guinea and the volcanoes, islands, and fjords program, it's a great itinerary. It's probably around, you could do it in probably 18, 19 days, and it's going to give you the most the best experience of the destination. I mean, you're going to see everything and come back, and the clients are just going to rave. And it is a little bit of bragging rights with the clients that go, because it is so exotic and so unique, and not many people have been to the destination. So I'll work through this program. So after one night in Port Moresby, again, some of the activities of the nature park and the museum, we fly to Tufi. It's a very small village that Ali and I both visited last year. Beautiful. It sits on top of a cliff over the Tufi Harbor. This property has all of the accommodation aspects, the lodge feel with the full bar, 24-hour electricity, air conditioning, hot water, and great food. I think I had one of the best meals. One of the best meals here. The lobster here is amazing. Where the villagers will go down, they fish lobster, and then they give it to the lodge. So this lodge is actually really the only thing in this village. So it's a village and a lodge, and because of that community, the villages and the villagers are they're thankful, and it's completely safe. Sometimes there are concerns, or clients will bring up concerns about the safety in Papua New Guinea, and really once Port Moresby has like any city, even in the U.S., it has its challenges, but once you leave Port Moresby, it is extremely safe. Some of the activities that you enjoy here, the children will come and sing at the lodge. The snorkeling at the lodge and scuba diving is just spectacular. I've never seen, this is an image that when I was down there that my friend took, and I mean, it's, as you can see, just amazing. We do have some cultural visits within the area, so there's some villages that are only accessible by canoe. So you are canoed on, as you can see on the left, on that plank, to learn about their cultures and the rites of passage with the men and the women, and the tattooing process. And these are images, these are pictures that I actually took. Can just spend time with the families. And again, just noting back on the villagers, I befriended the children in the village and learned how to play rugby with a bunch of 9-year-olds. And on the left, all of the villagers come out when the airplane flies in and when it flies out, because it's exciting for them to see who's going to be arriving and creating those relationships. And when I went back this year, I brought a couple soccer balls to give to Graham. Graham's the one that has his 2 thumbs up in the picture. And it's again, I just can't speak more highly about the destination, especially Tufi. So from Tufi, we fly to Rabaul, where the volcano that Ali showed you earlier, and then we drive to Kokopo. So we spend time at the Kokopo Beach Bungalow, beautiful resort. It's really the only resort in Kokopo, which is in East New Britain. And we stay in a waterfront executive bungalow. Again, air conditioning, a bar, full bar. All of these are bathroom and suites. I would say this is the best property in Kokopo. Here you have the opportunity. This is an image of a television. It does have all of the amenities that you would expect, but yet you can simply walk down to the beach. Just a few hundred feet, swim in the ocean, looking at the volcano, spending time with the villagers, or you can walk to the local market. Ali and I did that and ran into children that were coming back from school, and we'd swim with them in the ocean the day earlier. We were singing with them, and it's just those relationships, I'll have forever. Other activities in Rabaul. So we'll do a full day Gazelle Peninsula tour. We'll visit the Bidapaka War Cemetery. There's the Kokopo Museum. We go into Rabaul and we see Admiral Yamamoto's bunker. And then we finish the tour with a visit to the Volcano Observatory, which sits high atop a cliff overlooking the volcano. And then the submarine base where you have the opportunity to snorkel. We'll also wake up early the next day and head to the kind of do a volcano tour. So the Mount Tevavar, this is where the Maput or Mataput mine. They mine for megapod bird eggs. So seeing them do this is fascinating. They're digging down through 3, 4, 5 feet of ash to find these large eggs that the birds dive in and lay. So they're out there daily, and then they bring them to the market, and we bought them. We didn't have a chance to try them, but usually you can try them. You'll also go out on a tour. You'll pass by the Blue Lagoon. You'll see the beehives, which are these two remarkable rocks in the middle of the harbor. And as far as the terrain, if you do have older clients, the terrain is not bad at all. You can leisurely stroll on the mountain. And again, the picture that Ali took of me last year. From Rabaul, we'll fly to Kavieng, and then we'll transfer by boat to Listening Island. It's a very small island off the coast of Kavieng, and there's really only six bungalows on the island. Very, very small property run by a beautiful woman named Ange. Excuse me. There's actually more fish on the reef of this island than in all of the Caribbean. So if you have scuba dive or snorkel clients, again, it's very easy to go out there, daily excursions, and you're just seeing so many different types of fish around this island. So the island resort has it all. Again, this is the only property that doesn't have air conditioning, though. So, but again, because it's out in the water, it does remain relatively cool. So, really, no concerns about it being too hot. Some of the other activities around Kavieng, we head out to an oil palm plantation. We go to the Larabina village, and we visit Kathy Hjob. She runs this eel farm, so you get to learn about the eel farm. We have a picnic lunch along a creek with a little swim, and then we go and visit a master carver, Fabian. So Fabian's actually been over to the U.S. a few times, and you can purchase some items from him, or you just learn about the carving activities that he has really excelled in over the last few years by learning from Ben Cecilia, who was also another Malagan master carver. So that evening, we'll have a Sing Sing dinner. This is, Ali showed a picture earlier. It really, this fire dancing really only happens in this area. And it's just, again, I thought that, for an hour and a half, I would just, it's watching this, but it's so captivating how, they put on these amazing, large costumes. You can see these huge heads. And are dancing in the fire. It's just spectacular. So that's the second private journey that we have. So we have two that are, again, it's great to combine. We have our Escorted program, and then within our custom journeys department, we're able to tailor make another program if that's of interest. So here is our contact information both for Ali and myself. As well as our TRAVCOA's Vice President of Business Development and Product Innovation, Kathy Holler. She maintains the relationships with all of our our travel agencies. And again, my information is down below as well. You can contact really any three of us if you are interested in the brochure. And I think now we will open up to some questions and answers.
Absolutely. So we've got a good amount of questions coming through the portal